What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how to bleed the brake system on an R56 Mini Cooper S. I'm going to be using a Motiv's product power bleeder, and if to bleed the ABS system I'm going to be using a Foxwell NT510 Elite. If you're not going to be bleeding your ABS system you won't need that, but you're going to need the power bleeder. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stick around. You're going to want to watch this whole video. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is get your car up on jack stands or ramps, or a combination of the two like I have. If you're on jack stands and you pull your wheels off, it will be a little bit easier, but I'm not pulling my wheels off and you don't have to either. Okay, you're going to want to start with some .4 brake fluid. I'm using synthetic. This is 475 degree high temp Super Duty motor vehicle brake fluid. I got it at O'Reilly's. It's pretty decent, I guess, for the price. Make sure you use a brand new bottle when you do this. Brand new bottle. The reason you want to use a brand new bottle is because this stuff doesn't last. It lasts like 2 years apparently. It starts going bad immediately, and it also absorbs water out of the air. So once you open it, it's going to start absorbing water, which has a lower, water has like a 200 degree boiling point, I believe, and this has 475 degree boiling point. So if you're driving hard and you're on your brakes a lot and the water boils, you're not going to have brakes. So you're going to want to open this and just pour this container inside your power bleeder. All right. Now go ahead and screw the top onto your power brake bleeder. Should you get it tight? Okay, now your kit's gonna come with one of these, the power brake bleeder. It's gonna come with one of these little washers. Goes in here. Make sure you have that in, make sure it's clean, and make sure it's dry. Even if it's covered in brake fluid, it won't seal very well. Just like that. See if I can get a better view here. You want it to sit all the way in. Okay, now go ahead and remove your brake master cylinder cap. Set that aside. And connect your power brake bleeder. The way I do it, because this doesn't have any way to swivel, is I put it on there and I just get I turn it the wrong way a few times, just so that when I go to put it on, it twists itself on. Just make sure you get that tight. Now your top, you're going to push down and twist it so that you can pump it. And what you're going to do is you're going to pump it until you get to 15 psi right here. You could probably do it with less, but 15 works. The book says you can use as much as 29. 15 works though. I won't make you watch me pump this whole thing up though. So I got it roughly around 15 psi, so I'm going to go ahead and start the bleeding process. Okay, if you're going to be bleeding your ABS system, you're going to need, I'm using it's a Foxwell multi-system scanner NT510 Elite. I'll put a link in the description where you can get this. It just plugs into your OBD2 port. It's a really good scanner. I've had no issues with it. I've used it for everything I've done on my car. But you just plug this plug into your OBD2 port down here in the footwell. And then it turns on. Oh yeah. To get it to make sure it's reading, I'm going to go ahead and put my key in the ignition and then hit the start button without having my foot on. If you have a manual, don't put your foot on the clutch. If you have a automatic, don't put your foot on the brakes. Let's wait until that stops beeping. Okay, the reason you would use the scanner to bleed the ABS is when you're working on your car, if you drain your brake fluid in your master cylinder out of your master cylinder and you get air in your ABS system, then you have to bleed it out. Otherwise, chances are you don't have to. So if you don't have a scanner, it's not that big of an issue. You know, just bleed them, and if that doesn't work, try it again. If that doesn't work, try, if you have a safe place to drive your car like I do, I have a little dirt track in my front yard. You can try driving it and slamming on the brakes, obviously in a safe manner to where the ABS kicks in, and hopefully you can get the air in the line, and then you know, just go through and bleed your brakes a few times until you get the air out. And if not, you might have to take somebody that has a scanner, or bite the bullet and buy one, which is what I would recommend, because you're going to need it for so many things on these cars. So I would recommend just getting the scanner. It makes it, well, you'll see how easy it is right now. Okay, now that's done beeping. What it's going to do when it turns on is it's going to show you this screen, the main menu. And you want to press this, let's set it on my leg here. This button right here until it goes over one time. It'll go to, so it says BMW, and then press enter. Now it's going to say BMW, Mini, or Rolls-Royce. You want to obviously go to Mini. Then hit enter. Now it's going to say Smart VIN or manual selection. I'm going to use Smart VIN. So I'm just going to press enter. Now it's reading my VIN number. And now you hit, if it has your right VIN number, which mine does, I still want to show it on here. It says complete, hit F3. So I'm going to go ahead and hit F3. Now it says everything about my car on here. Let's see, show that. And then I go ahead and hit F3 again. Yes, I did just show you my vehicle identification number, so I guess it didn't matter that I didn't show you the VIN. I don't care. Now it's just going to say, please wait, loading data. And then once it's going to do this until it gets all the way to 100%. It takes a few minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it so you don't have to watch. Okay, so it's just about to finish. Alright, then it goes to diagnosis or service. You want to go to service, so hit the down button. Then go to service, and then hit enter. Now it's going to say maintenance, drive, chassis, or body. You're going to go to chassis, so hit that down button. Put it on chassis, then hit enter. Now you're going to go to, it says steering angle sensor, wheel slip control system, or electronic power steering. You're going to go, or electromechanical power steering. You're going to go to wheel slip control system, and then hit enter. It's loading. Now you're going to go onto that bleed routine. So it's the third one down. And then just go ahead and hit enter. Now it says the system must be bled with the aid of the DIS after performing the following jobs: replacement of tandem master brake cylinder, replacement of DC or DSC unit, or replacement of brake lines. I replaced my brake lines, so that's why I'm doing this job. And it says current bleeder unit max 2 bar. Or it says connect bleeder unit max 2 bar. Mine's already connected, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit F3. Right, now it says primarily bleeding, I can't even read. Preliminary bleeding of brake system according to repair instructions, CS 3400050 brake bleeding system with DSC. I'm just going to ignore that and hit F3. Okay, the valves and pump are activated in the next step, or the next test step, in order to perform the bleeding routine. So it says okay, and I'm ready, so I'm going to hit F3. Okay, so now it says open bleeder valve at rear right brake caliper, connect bleeder hose with collecting reservoir, and start bleeding routine, close bleeder valve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the valve with the hose connected to it, and I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to hit F3, and you're going to hear the ABS unit kick on. And once it's done doing that, I'm going to go close the valve. Okay, so from under the car, your brake line, your brake bleeder is right here on the top of, right above your parking brake. So you're just going to take that little nipple off, take your little bleeder hose. I don't have a bottle that I can show you that it drains to. So let's go ahead and put that hose on. And what I do is I take this 11 millimeter, because that's what size you're going to need, put it over top of the hose. And then just go ahead and crack that loose. Ratchet wrench would probably be better if I had one. Alright, and then when the brake fluid starts to come out a little bit like that, I don't know if I got that on there. Let me, you can see the brake fluid coming out. Inside the car, you're just going to hit F3, and you'll hear the ABS system kick on. Now it says the bleeding routine was successfully completed at the right rear. Press the brake pedal. You're not going to do that because you're using the power bleeder, so you're not going to have to worry about the rest of this stuff. So come back over here. So let's come back under here and then tighten that hose back up. The right way. Alright. Go ahead and pull that hose off. And take this little cable that's in here, set it inside this little rubber part that goes on the nipple, and then pop your nipple back on. Make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so on the next step on the scan tool, it's going to tell you to go to the front right. But since I'm bleeding the brakes and the ABS at the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and just bleed this black. Can't even talk. I'm gonna go ahead and bleed this back brake before I go to the next step. So I'm just gonna loosen it, let the air bubbles come out, and tighten it without pressing any buttons up front. But since I have the power brake bleeder hooked up, I don't need to press the brake pedal or anything like that. All right, just like on the other side, just pop that thing out. There's no little hose going in there, so you don't have to worry about that. Or no sensor connected to it. Go ahead and put your line on there. Then just crack that loose. You'll see the air bubbles come out if you have any. And just go ahead and tighten it. Now go ahead and take that hose all the way off. Again, it says to open the bleeder valve at the front right brake caliper and connect the hose and close the valve, or open the valve. So I'm going to go ahead and go connect that, and then loosen the hose, and loosen the bleeder valve, and I'll come back here and hit F3. From under here, you can probably hear that humming. That's my ABS system. because I have the bleeding process going on. The valves are just activated. They're not doing anything. So in the front, same thing as in the back. Pop the little rubber thing off. And then put your bleeder hose on there. Then a same 11mm wrench. And go ahead and crack that bleeder valve loose. And again, when you see the fluid coming out, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but the fluid is coming out right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press the button inside the car, but I'm going to leave the camera on so you guys can hear it better. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this. Pop that hose off. Move on to the next one. Okay, now the next step is going to be the front left side, to be the driver's side if you're in the United States. This one also has the brake pad wear sensor attached to it, so you pull that out of the way, pull that rubber thing down. Go ahead and put your hose on there. Like I said earlier, this would be a little bit easier if the wheels are off, but you know, then you have to take your wheels off and put them back on. So it's not that much easier. If your wheels are already off though, like if you just did your rotors or something, whatever you, not your rotors, but your brake lines, you might as well do it with the wheels still off. Alright, so go ahead and crack this loose. There it goes. Oops, wrong way. Alright, I'm going to go press the button again. Still got a little bit more to go. We're going to take this hose off. I'll show you the next step here. Let's see if we can get it to show up. Now since remember I did that rear left brake at the beginning, but I didn't press F3 because I wasn't bleeding the ABS system. I was just bleeding the brake line. But now I'm going to be bleeding the ABS system, so I'm going to go ahead and do that one last. No, not last, because then I'm going to go through the whole thing again, but without using the Foxwell. I'm just going to bleed the system to go through it twice. Okay, so now I'm on the rear left side. Go ahead and break this loose. I'm going to go ahead and just go press the button real quick. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and tighten up my brake line, or my bleeder valve. Take this hose off. Okay, so now you gotta remove your bleeder unit. Don't do that. Don't remove your bleeder unit because you're still gonna bleed your brakes normally. But to correct the brake fluid level, then read out the faults in the code. You're gonna have some codes from, you know, when you just change your brakes and all that stuff. You might have codes. I had about 7 when I did this last time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna leave this hooked up and I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna bleed my brakes again. In fact, I'm gonna show you guys that, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna clear all my codes. But let's go ahead and bleed the brakes normally. Now, if you're not doing the ABS, what you would do is all that stuff I just showed you, other than hooking up the bleeder, the power brake bleeder, you hook that up, skip the whole Foxwell thing, and you would start what I'm doing right now and just do what I'm doing right now. You know, and that's how you bleed the brakes. Everything else was to bleed the ABS. But I also, like I said, I also do the brakes at the same time, but then I go through and bleed all the brakes again. So we're back to the rear left, furthest from the master cylinders where you want to be. Hook your bleeder hose up, just screw up. Alright, put the wrench on there, break it loose. See if any air bubbles come out. And then just go ahead and tighten it. You're not going to pump your brakes because, like I said, you have that power brake bleeder hooked up to your master cylinder and it's keeping pressure in it. So go ahead and tighten that. Put your brake sensor line back in there. Snap that back on. The reason I put this back on every time, even though I know I'm going to take it back off when I go around the next time, is in case I don't go around the next time, then I didn't forget to put it back on. And this will be my last time, so that's going all the way on. I think I misspoke on that last part, but the last one was the right rear, not the left rear. Not sure which one I said, but now I'm on the left rear. Should be the second furthest from the brake master cylinder. Same thing. Just crack it loose. See if any air bubbles come out. Then just go ahead and tighten it. Pull that off. We'll move to the next one. Okay, now we're back on the right front, which would be the front passenger side if you're in an American car. Go ahead, put the bleeder hose on there. I could have unhooked my scanner so we wouldn't have to listen to this buzzing, but I'm already under here. Crack that loose. Oops, wrong way. You want to go counterclockwise? Alright, you can't really see what I'm doing, but put this hose on the nipple again. Put it on the wrong side or something. Nope. It's hard to do when you can't see it, but it should slide right on. Put my 11mm on there. Turn it counterclockwise. Go ahead and pull that hose off. Connect this wire again, this brake thing again. I can see. Okay, before I show you the next step, if you're gonna flush your system, you would just keep going. You would just go to the next one, go to the, you know, instead of, if you have old brake fluid in there, or if you're changing brake fluid colors, it makes it a lot easier. But when you go to the far right one in the back, you just crack it until you see the new brake fluid come through, tighten it. And do that in the same order I just showed you. You just keep it open longer, that's the only difference. But now I'm gonna show you the next step. Okay, so now you want to disconnect your power brake bleeder. You want to get the pressure out of the system first. I do it by, you can do it by either cracking this or this. I'm going to do it by cracking this. Just let the pressure out. Alright, then go ahead and loosen that if you can. It's pretty tight. Go ahead and let that drain back in. Okay, so now on mine right now, my brake fluid reservoir is all the way full to the rim. So I'm just gonna take this little, if you have a turkey baster or something, it's probably better, but I'm just gonna take this little thing, I'm gonna pump the fluid out of it. And I never took the little screen out of the bottom, so I'm not going to take too much fluid out. Oops. So go ahead and get that to the right level. Put your cap on. I'll get mine to the right level after I do this video, but you know, get it to where it says full is. Go ahead and close that. Okay, now that you have removed the bleeder unit, correct the brake fluid level, you're going to do your fault code. So go ahead and hit F3. Hit the back button. Hit the back button again. Hit it again. Now where it says servicing diagnosis, you go up to diagnosis. Hit enter. And it's going to say quick scan or control modules. You're going to quick scan. Go ahead and hit enter again. And it's going to go through all these scans. Already got one fault. I'm not going to make you watch this go all the way through. Okay, so now you can go through, hit this arrow, find everywhere you have a fault. That motor electronics DME one, that one fault, that's something for my thermostat housing. That has nothing to do with what I'm doing. Just go through and see if you have any. So I only have that one, but if you're going to check it, you're just going to highlight it, press enter. It'll say ECU information, read codes or clear codes. We're going to go to read, press enter. And hoping it really is that code. Yeah, that's my thermostat thing, 2F07. I already replaced my thermostat housing, so I got to figure out why I'm still getting a code, but Yeah, it's a different problem. So let's go ahead and hit the back button. Now right here you could clear the codes, or when you go back, if you have multiple codes you're going to clear it once, you hit erase, which is F1, and it'll erase them all at once. This is, are you sure? Hit F3 for yes. And it's clearing, and then it's reading it again. I have no code. So if I had multiple codes, it would just go through and do every single code. Yeah, like I said, if you're gonna flush your system, you just keep going through it. You could, even after you cleared your codes like that, you can flush it right now. I'll probably go through it again with just use up all that brake fluid I have. But you don't have to. But you can't use that brake fluid again, so you might as well. But yeah, I have a Facebook page if you guys want to check it out. It's called Mini Cooper DIY. If you go check out that page and join it, it'd be cool. It's about any Mini Coopers. It's not just about the the R56. There is a lot of R56 on there, but there's a lot of people with every Mini Cooper. So if you have any issues that you need help with, you post it on there. Someone on there will probably know how to fix it, and they'll help you out. But if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next video.